Right. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I feel like we're good. Lighting, position. Yay. Hey, everyone. We'll just hang out for a quick sec and let some people jump on. Today's going to be a fun day. I have a friend with me. Katy's here.
Hello.
So let me just tell you a little bit about Katy and how I met and kind of like where we started our friendship. Katy was like me, a crazy gym rat going to dance classes because she loves to shake her booty. That's what we have in common. I think that's where our friendship began. That's where our love language began. And so as I got to know Katy through dance, we were both there to express ourselves, find our authentic selves, and express that. We realized that we were both on a journey to find more ability to love, more ways to love, more understanding of our self-love and where that could potentially get us. And so through this year, was it a year ago? I'm like,
when we
met.
I feel like about
a year at
Yeah.
least, or more.
Maybe a year and a half.
Yeah, I
So I'm
think.
thinking back to my birthday
Right?
in the shredded shirt
Okay, yeah.
that you made, the lemon.
Yeah.
Well done.
The
So
shredded
I want
shirt.
to say about a year and a half.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Going on 2 years. So
Time
that
flies
just
when you're
tells
having
you.
fun.
Yes!
You don't keep track of it.
You don't. And
You
I
just
was just
embrace.
going to say that. When you have friends that you have fun with all the time,
Yeah.
and like we were talking about last night, when your hearts have been connected through love and light, it could be months since I've seen Katy, and she comes back. Yeah, or a lifetime. And she comes back, and it's like, oh, we just pick right up where we were, because we had that desire when we became friends to be honest, real, to be ourselves, to be authentic, vulnerable always.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
silly.
So yes, silly, always being silly.
Yeah.
And I think that when you have that kind of friendship, it doesn't matter how long you've been friends, that you instantly let go of that, because it's not the time that bonds the friendship. It's the desire to put your heart out there, to be yourself, to be raw. Because honestly, I have friends that I've known way longer than you.
Years, yeah.
And I don't know them as well as I know you.
Yeah.
And even though I don't even know your ex-husband's name, I still know you.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I know your heart.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm here to do with you guys, is to share my heart. And as I promised, I'm going to continue to introduce you to amazing people who are open-hearted, loving, willing to give you light and love, willing to share their heart, their experiences, what they've been through with you. Because as humans grow and evolve, if we're able to open ourselves to love each other, we can change humanity. We can change the course of our lives, our neighbors' lives, our friends' lives, our families' lives. But we have to be real and authentic.
Yeah.
We have to be willing to look for honesty in relationships and not just be comfortable with those relationships that look pretty on the outside, like, oh, everything's perfect, we're best friends, but we really have never talked about vulnerable life situations.
Yeah.
So then it's like, how deep is your friendship if you've never approached some of those topics?
Yeah.
So, to say the least, when we hang out, it's like a 4-hour therapy session for both of us. Because we just go deep, and then we just go deeper, and then our minds explore new topics to go deeper on. And so what we have felt inspired to teach on today are love languages.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of love language? Have you ever tried to identify what your love language is, or how other people receive love? So my basic understanding, Katy, because I've only taken about 2 mentors' advice on this topic.
Okay.
So I know that the more perspective you get, the deeper you can go into love language. So what I understand about love language is that each of us have a way that we like to receive love, and each of us have a way that we like to show love. Sometimes those might be different, and sometimes they might be the same.
Yeah.
And then we have to learn our partners or our friends' love languages, because if we can learn theirs, then we can show them the type of love that they want versus the type of love we want to give them.
Right.
So when I learned these 2 concepts, Katy, the way that it hit me in my mind was like, ooh, there could be selfish love. Because if we're only willing to show love in one way, the way that we want to receive love, that's actually kind of selfish. Because if we love someone, we can learn how they like to receive love. We can learn how to display that love for them to show them love on their level.
Yeah.
So for me, I guess I kind of thought that was the importance of love language. How do you feel? I mean, you've learned different areas and you're very insightful when it comes to this topic. So, yeah. So tell me, what's your take on this? Why is it important?
A few thoughts just with what you're saying. So it's really easy, and I think it's very natural for us to automatically want to auto drive and share the same love language that we have. And maybe the thought there is like, oh, I'll show how I want love, right? But the beauty in discovering someone else's love language, there's a few things. So the first thing is you get to be creative. You get to step outside what you already know and learn about a new love language. And it's important, I feel, you know, when I'm looking at my love language, I identify that as how I receive love best.
Yeah.
And I feel that love. So it's received deeply. And so for me, the way I identify how love language is important and why it's important to learn other love languages is because we can do something that in our mind is loving, but the value and how that's received on a real, authentic, and natural level for the person that we're trying to share that love with, it may not mean as much, you may be thinking that you're loving, and that person is not receiving or feeling that love because that is not their love language. So
it's going to come across as a different emotion completely.
Yeah.
Maybe we're trying to express love, but the way it's going to come across to them might be control or manipulation or
you don't know
limitation.
me.
Yeah, you don't know me. That's
foreignness.
Yeah.
Or even a discompassion.
Oh.
A discompassion because you're not connecting with me. You don't understand. We all want to be understood.
Yeah. We all want to be seen.
We all want to be loved.
Oh my goodness.
You know?
Yeah.
So, for those who've read The Love Language, it's a book. And they kind of focus on 5 love languages. You have physical touch, you have quality time, you have gifts, you have service, and I can't think of the 5th right now. But
verbiage.
And verbiage. So verbal praise, right?
Yes.
And some of that
because that's one of my
can be connected
languages.
to childhood. Some of that could be due to modeling what you felt in your home, or just things that you value. And that can change. I think it's important to know that can change. I know at one point, for me, receiving gifts was something, and then there were events in my life that changed that, and then other things became more valuable. So even once you learn a love language for whoever you're wanting to share that love with, be it a partner, a family member, a friend, be open to the flow of changing, and don't feel like, oh, but this is my love language. And then if you notice like you're not feeling that same level, like it's okay. You're not a different person, but your love language may flow and change in different directions, and you can just embrace that as well and receive that. I think the key is noticing when you feel that love and how you feel that love and where do you feel that love. There's one that's not in that book that I want to add, and I kind of want to dive a little deeper into that. I feel today is kind of where my intuition is going with that. And that one is the love language of space. And I'm going to kind of go into some details there. So I feel like one lesson I've recently learned, and that I've been kind of diving into more and more, and I'm just barely on the iceberg of beginning to truly embrace and understand this, is love in its purest form starts with yourself. And when it's already within yourself, then you're able to truly share that with others. And so part of space, I feel, is getting to know yourself, holding space for yourself. And don't, give yourself the patience and time, if you don't know what your love language is, to explore that and think of it as like hide and go seek. Take time to go out and try and play with things and see what that looks like, and be okay that it may take some time to understand that, or maybe you've already known what your love language is, but it's shifting. and play with that and be okay getting to know that as well.
That's a big deal. Let's go a little bit deeper
Okay.
on that, because what you're saying is you can grow up and visualize and see yourself as, my love language is, well, let's say for me is verbal praise,
Okay.
because I want to hear my worth. I want
Yeah.
you to say to me my value, and that's important to me. So then I grow up and I become an adult and I realize, gosh, I feel like people don't love me because, let's see, another love language would be physical touch. Well, I'm not getting enough hugs and enough kisses and enough physical touch.
Yeah.
I don't feel loved. So you're saying that we need to be aware that our love language is going to shift and change throughout our lifetime.
Yeah.
And that we could be open to maybe a couple different types of love language as we're
more than one. And you can have all of them, honestly. Like, there's not a limit there either. I think typically with my experience, there is a pretty predominant one. And then for me, like I'll just share mine. So physical touch is number one. Mm-hmm. Something with connection. I'm a very kinesthetic person. So that I connect. I feel very well. So I think for me, that's why. Second is quality time. Time is something that is very limited in my mind. We all have X amount. Mm-hmm. And so for me, quality time, I value, because I know that has limitations. And so I really receive that. And then for me, the rest, I would say space, which I'm adding. Mm-hmm. And I would say the verbal, the gifts of service, and
well, service and then giving gifts. They're two separate.
So the acts rest of service for me, pretty even. And that may change in 2 years or whatever, and that's great. And then going back to the space.
How would that be involved in this? Because I'd like to hear a little bit more.
Once you have received what your love language is, I think one of the best ways to practice that and be mindful is to start with yourself. Make sure, so maybe for Nikki, verbal affirmations, daily mantra, I am, or acknowledging and praising yourself in an honest, authentic, loving way.
In your love
of
language.
Where you're at. Yeah. So practice that with yourself, and then you can take that further. Now, sometimes that love language, and this is a thought I had too, that can go into holding space and it can go into verbal. So sometimes verbal could also be being heard. Yes. Giving them time to verbalize as well. So I feel like that can go both ways, and that could also go into holding space. I think too, another way of holding space that can be for yourself or for others is during transition times, or when things are confusing or things are foggy, or healing especially is happening, to honor that space of sacredness within oneself or within another, and allowing the time, without a time limit, without a timer, that they get that space. So and they determine that space.
So it's like love with no definition and no expectations. I'm feeling like maybe we should call this blind love. Because, you know what I'm saying? Because if we're holding space with no expectations, with no predetermined amount of time. We don't know when.
There's no hourglass. There's no alarm clock. There's no, it just is holding. Holding that space truly.
And that's huge. You just said during a time of crisis or healing or unsurety and fogginess, Katie, isn't that what the world is going through right now? Like every single person in our life. I mean,
reevaluating, trying to look at what has needed healing, what's been screaming at us, what has been saying, I need to be discovered, and not just discovered, but received, processed, loved, learned from, and move forward.
And that's beautiful, because during this time of crisis, what we're going to see around us is we're going to see a lot of our loved ones reacting out of anger, fear, insecurities. When you feel lost, you are frightened by the unknown, that the possibilities in front of you are dark, scary, life-threatening in some situations. And what I want to bring this message to really, call you to action, like I always love to do. I want to give you homework, something to focus on, is look for those people in your life right now that maybe need you to hold that space of love for them. They're not going to ask for it. They're going to go down their dark road. They're going to see all their shadow work that they need to do on that fear and those insecurities. And sometimes they're going to forget to let us know that they still love us and that they still want us to be a piece of their life, because they're so caught up in this fear, anger, scared society that we're being faced with right now. And if you are capable, you are here, you are listening to this, you are in this now moment of wanting to be a higher dimensional love and light to those around you, think of it like this. You have the opportunity to hold this space of love for those people and not put expectations, not put time, not put, I'll love them again when they say sorry for being jerks.
If, when, or, but.
Yeah, all of these.
Truly empathy, truly compassionate. And I feel like we all want that. But sometimes it's easy, I think, in the moment to forget those needs when they're not directly yours. Mm-hmm. And so when holding that space, oh yeah, when I was in this space, this was helpful.
Or it would have been
or
nice.
What would be helpful.
Yes.
We can ask too.
Yeah.
How can I love you? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That can be holding space too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. And if you're in that moment with somebody where they're in such a dark point that they're not able to let you know how you can love them, a lot of us, when we're in fear mode, we tell people to go away, and we tell people we don't need them. That's right. We do, right?
I'm fine.
That's right. Leave me alone. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
So let's remember that this love language of holding space is going to come in a time when that person is not aware of the love they need you to hold for them. So it's almost like this love language is so much more sacred, because that is almost the love language of Christ consciousness.
Yeah.
That Christ consciousness
truly.
is truly,
so many layers.
Chills
so many
are
layers.
Just, my body. Okay.
And the capacity that they can
love again.
Yeah.
That they can come back to the light.
That they're capable. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
It's all within.
It is. And so holding the space of love, we are going to increase our own ability to love by not putting expectations on those that we are just patiently holding space for. We can continue to send out that Care Bear stare, throw out that love and light, pull it out. And guess what? That love language might be transferring to a person who can never ask you for love. But in that moment, when you're sending your love and light to them, Katy, we both know they feel it.
Yeah.
They change.
Yeah.
They shift.
Energy knows energy.
And they don't even have to be conscious.
And they don't even need to know what it is.
No.
But they'll feel it. They may be like, what is going on?
What's going on with me? Why do I feel like I want to smile when I've been trying to be angry all day?
What is this feeling? What is this curve?
Happiness.
Hold on.
Yes. What are these lines on my face? Oh, for sure. And that's a beautiful, beautiful way to think of love language, is that we have the ability to learn things about other people that are not like us, that we might not even be able to relate to or understand. Yeah. However, love is not about understanding someone. Love is not about being like someone or having something in common. Love is about no expectations, no boundaries, no conditions. True, honest, pure, open light coming from me to you, whether I know you.
It can come with growth and expansion too.
Yes.
Like when we stay, we talked about this too. When we stay in comfort, it's stagnant. You don't grow. And I was thinking about this. I'm going back to school, and it's uncomfortable because my brain is being stretched and my mind is being expanded, and I call it my own growing pain. But would I have it any other way? Would I want to stay stagnant? Would I never want to have change?
Not Katy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Not Katy.
I want to grow. I want to expand. Want to be challenged, because through challenge we grow, we develop, we define character. We become and know ourselves.
Oh yeah. Well, and through challenge, I think that's where our love language has the opportunity to develop, because you never really know how much you love yourself until you put yourself through hell. Like, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
We learned that Katy learns through challenge.
Yes. This is part of my rebellious character. I don't want an easy road.
No.
I want the uphill, gravelly rock. Make me sweat, cry, tears, because I have earned it and I appreciate it, and it's my value of it is deeper, and retention is longer.
Yeah.
We don't I don't know.
Oh.
I don't feel like I appreciate the things I haven't worked hard for in life. But
Yeah.
man, the ones I've sacrificed for, blood, sweat, tears.
Do you feel like they're deeply rooted to your heart?
Yeah.
Like you say, like when
I
heard blood,
it is
sweat,
a part
tears,
of me.
it's like,
there's pride, there is satisfaction, there's confidence, there is self in that. Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. I love that. That is just a great, great message to think about. Life is a challenge sometimes, and we can't avoid challenges. We have to, face everything and rise. We can't let fear allow us to face everything and run. And when we're going through relationships, going back to this love language, like flowing with life, we have to be adaptable. That is like the one thing that I am just like, whoa, wake up, people. You can't be stuck. You can't be rigid. You can't think or believe that all things are going to happen the way they're supposed to or should, right? Supposed to. Because we all live that life of you should do this, you're supposed to do that, and if you do these things, then these things will happen.
Right.
But all that's not true anymore. I know. We woke up, we realized.
No.
Yeah, that's just that's what we were all taught to believe.
Yeah. I feel like when you say that, I think of an aquarium and like cleaning off the aquarium and seeing clearly, like, no, this is a fallacy. Oh, look at this whole new world I can experience.
Scrape the algae off the glass.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there I am.
Yep.
And that's where we started. So let's recap, and then we'll see where Katy ends with this. Okay. We started this whole live. Today's my 38th day. Tomorrow will be my last day going live for now. And my journey was to bring self-awareness. That's where we started. Like, who am I? Where am I? And what the hell am I doing here? I will have an entire conference held that will be titled that. That is, I have so many teaching conferences. You guys need to get these tickets, okay? So that's the start, is the awareness. Because if we're never even contemplating who we are, where we're at, and what are we doing here, then we don't know where to go from there. Yeah. But okay, let's start that foundation. And that's what we did back in November. Go back and watch that live. So then we go, okay, now I'm aware, but can I accept this? Because when we become aware, we see things about ourselves that aren't so pretty. We see things about ourselves that we don't want to see, so we just deny them, and we go, that can't be me. What? No, I'm not looking in that mirror. Right? So we're aware, but then we have to accept. But here's the best thing. Once you accept, you get to express. Because now you know who you are. Like, purple hair and all. I'm expressing that.
Rainbow earrings and all.
That's right. Oh, sorry. Breaking your chair.
Because I'm laughing.
Yeah, so it's like, it's this self-awareness, this self-acceptance, this self-expression. And that leads us to self-love, self-care, and self-respect. Yeah. Now we go down this journey, and we're like, ooh, we're on this river. And we're flowing, and we feel good, and we have love. And then, wait, we hit a rock, Katy. Oh no, somebody called us fat and ugly and flipped us off. Are we going to hold on to that disappointment? Are we going to let that dwell inside of us? Are we going to take that on and say, oh, am I fat? Am I ugly? Do people really hate me? Because I'm holding on to that rock, and now I'm not flowing anymore.
And how do I feel? How do I feel? That might be how they feel.
Yeah.
How do I feel?
I don't feel like I'm fat.
I have self-love.
That's right.
I love
I
myself.
don't feel like I'm ugly. You know what? I'm going to let go of that rock, and then I'm going to keep flowing. That's right. That's right. And I think that's one thing that we both love is this concept of looking at your life as a continuous flow down the river. We've all heard so many different analogies of letting go and going with the flow. There's so many bright ideas and things that we can think of, but truthfully it comes down to, if you attach yourself to anything in this world, anything at all, that might be hard for some of you because we want to hold on to this three-dimensional world. But if we choose to hold on to these physicalities, these dramas, these pains, we are staying in one place. We are complacent. We are stuck. We are stagnant. I love how we say things at the same time all the time. We've done that like 3 times today, just so you know. That was like the 3rd time. But when we're stagnant, guess what happens to our bodies? That's when we begin to die. That's the truth. Do you want to live forever? Do you want to be immortal? Do you want your spirit and your energy to just go on forever? Don't hold on to crap. Let it go.
Don't get in your own way.
Don't get in your own way.
Open it up.
Yes. And learn the love language of yourself and flow down that river inside of you as you flow down that river of life, so that as you come across a challenge, maybe it's your throat chakra, maybe it's your heart chakra, you will be able to relate these areas of yourself to the challenges and the things you're getting stuck on in the world around you. They are the same. As within, so without, as above, so below. So if we can keep our mind in check, we can keep our heart in check, we can stay grounded through our root chakra, the more that we are aware that we are the creators of our surroundings. Our surroundings do not create what we feel inside. We can choose to let it, but then we're giving away our power. We can choose to keep our power and say, I choose to be happy, I choose to feel love, and I choose to send light. And anything else that's coming towards me, anything else that somebody's trying to get me to believe about myself, I'm going to flow right past that. I'm going to keep moving. That's right. I love it.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Or we could say, thank you for your opinion, but I'll let you keep that.
I'll consider that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you know, it's good. Sometimes, like you just reminded me, we do need to consider other people's opinions, because the more perspective we have about ourselves, we will be able to see a deeper, more personal side of ourselves than maybe we were denying.
And if you're standing in your truth, you'll know whether that is true or not. You'll know if it's truth being spoken. And if it is truth being spoken, then you can observe it and look at it and go, okay, I can work with this. I can love this. And then keep flowing. Yes.
And that really is when you get to that point that Katie's talking about, where you can look at yourself and be authentic with yourself and the person who's now mirroring this to you or triggering you and forcing you to see this in yourself. In that moment, if you truly do know your own love language, you begin to go into that self-care of, I just hit a challenge. I know who I am. I can overcome this challenge by loving myself, standing in my own authentic self, and that person in front of me, I can express that, you know what, Katie, you were right. I did think that, and I did feel that way, and I'm thankful for you that you helped me to see that that's not my best self.
Right.
And I don't blame you for bringing that to the forefront, and I don't want you to feel like you did something wrong by helping me to see that in myself.
Right.
A lot of us, when our friends, vulnerability. When our friends, because too many times we're willing to give up friendships because we don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror. You know, I've been called the hard friend, and it's a joke for me now because I'm a very difficult friend to be around if you want to be fake.
Yeah, if you want to be fake.
Yeah, and that's it.
I'm like, no.
Because she's like, no, you're not a difficult friend. But the truth is, Katie, is that some of my friends who want to live in their victimhood, they want to live in that ego.
I want to stay here.
They want to stay here. Yeah. They're around me and they're like, Nikki, why are you reminding me of these things I'm trying to ignore in my life? And I'm like, it's because I live in my authenticity. I might piss you off, but I'm going to be real. And I don't know how to be different because that's me being real. So I find friends like Katie who want to be real with me, and she'll call me out and she'll tell me, hey, Nikki, this or that. And did you think about this? Or what if you said it this way? And how about this idea? And
same thing. And I think approach is one of the beauty with love, because we're talking about love language.
Yeah.
So part of your approach in these love languages, right, is how you approach it. You can say, gosh, Nikki, da 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 da, or, you know,
Hey.
I love you, and
yeah,
I wonder
consider
about this. And
Yeah.
have you thought about this? What do you think about this?
Yes.
Like, there's so many beautiful ways, and you, there again, use creativity with that flow. Like, what feels natural to you? What is natural for that person, for that connection, for that relationship?
Oh, yeah. And holding space, going back to that on both sides,
Yeah.
that if you are trying to be authentic, it's not always going to look pretty, but if the person in front of you is accepting your authentic self, they're going to expect it to not always come out perfectly. They understand that you're learning to be authentic at the same time they're learning to be authentic.
And I'm going to share.
Because I'm like, did you just remember
so last
something?
night I was having a very meaningful conversation. And as I'm in a deep moment, really expressing my heart and soul in a way that is so vulnerable, and I say something completely backwards as I say it, and I'm laughing at myself, which I have had to learn to love that part of imperfection, because it is part of me.
Yeah.
And so I said something completely dyslexic. I do have dyslexia. And I laughed, and I was like, oh, I totally said that backwards. And it didn't matter. The message was received.
Yeah.
But I think, laughter is part of that space as well.
Oh, yeah.
Space just I feel like space covers so many layers.
It does.
And so many approaches. So you're not limited to just physical looks like this, verbal looks like this. Space is, like Nikki said, it's a sacred space. And I think your intuition leads that space.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it keeps you constantly connected. So there is no disconnect, even through an argument or a disagreement. We can come from two different places and have two different points of view. But if we're willing to be our true authentic selves, we're always holding that space for when the other person is ready to come back and begin again. Because let's be honest, sometimes we go through very deep, dark, horrifying, traumatic situations in our life that we do need time away from each other.
Yeah.
And maybe that darkness just needs to fade away a little bit before we're able to come back and have a conversation about that, whatever it could have been. And for a lot of people right now, it's just with their families, and it's religious or political, or, wearing a mask or not, just these simple little disagreements where all of a sudden we feel that disconnect. And if you believe that and I believe this, we could never be friends, or we could never love each other again.
Yeah.
And let's avoid that. And let's remember that by this option of holding that love language of space, that it's giving everybody the opportunity to come back to the light, to come back and rejoin and regroup, and maybe find a new love language or a new way of processing whatever it is they're going through. Loving themselves more, loving others more, accepting themselves more, accepting others more.
Allowing that time and space for that process. I feel like for 2020, a lot of us our lives have been changed in some aspect or another. And it takes some time of sitting with self to process that, and how to adapt, as we talked about that too. And so I feel like that's really important, to allow that time. I know sometimes for me, when I've had people reach out in their love language, or to try to reach out, and I try to share something, it's like, sometimes I need that space because I haven't figured it out. I haven't processed it yet. So then when somebody holds space for me, and I can take the time and I can sit with it and process it, then I can accept and receive that love, because now I understand and I'm ready. But if it's like, I don't know, I'm still trying to understand this myself.
Yeah.
How do I talk about this? How do I express this?
Yeah.
And
if you're not ready, and that person's not holding space, their love, a new thing we just talked about the other day, their love is going to feel like fire, because it's going to be so strong, it's going to burn you.
Yeah.
And it's going to make you actually back away from that person, because it's going to feel like they're attacking you with their love versus holding space and waiting for you to be ready to receive their love.
Which is key too.
It is. And that was a big thing for me this year, is learning what love language all of my relationships have, my friendships, my husband, my children, but then also, of course, thank you.
Yes.
And myself.
Yourself. Don't forget you. It's easy to get caught up in so. hello.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're on this journey together. And sometimes in that moment, we're going, okay, well, I figured out their love language and I served them, and I figured out their love language and I served them. But then it's like, wait, I'm just going to hold space for this, and I'm just going to hold space for me. And when we come around to understanding what we need, then it will be identified.
And I think it's okay. Like I'm thinking some of you might be thinking, well, like, I want to do something. You feel this urgency of like,
oh, that's a big
one. I don't
one.
want to not do anything.
Yeah, I can't just sit here and do nothing.
Nothing is what is needed. Holding space can be very difficult. And so for those who might be, I don't know, the word anxiety comes to mind, of like,
anxious.
I want to be doing something. I need to be doing something. Why? Maybe that's something of your own love language. Maybe take space away and ask why do you need to be doing something?
Yes, why do I need to feel needed? That's a whole nother thing. Yeah, because that's a selfish love. When you are forcing your love on someone because you want them to need you, you are being selfish in that act. You're not truly putting them first. You're putting your own desire to be seen or needed. And that's
a selfish motive, which means it's not actually truly love, and nothing forced is loving.
Yeah.
It flows, it receives, it gives.
That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well, you beautiful people, we are down to our last 48 hours or less of 2020. Crazy!
Oh my goodness.
We made it through this year. Woohoo! So, let your love flow. Consider what's blocking you or what you're holding on to, or maybe identify your love language so that as you move into 2021, you know who you are. You have a foundation of love. You know what love language you want to express and what you want to receive. And you're also becoming more aware of identifying love language in the people around you. Next year will be an entirely new year. This year caught us a little bit by surprise, right?
A little bit.
Now we're a little bit more prepared.
Yeah.
We are aware. Many of us have become awakened and enlightened much, much more than we thought we would this year. That's for sure.
Yes.
For me. Never thought I would be in this mind, in this body today if you would have asked me 1 year ago. Today, when I was on vacation with my family. And so, really, really take time for yourself today and decide what your New Year's new you is going to look like. Because I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I believe in a new year for a new you, but that new you starts today. So.
And start with an extra dose of love for yourself.
Yes, I love it. I love it. We love you all. Thank you so much, Katy, for being here today. I hope you all love Katy as much as I do.
I love you all.
And real fast before we go, Katy, you are starting your own path and journey doing therapy. Recreational therapy. So real quick, let these people know what to expect to see from Katy Hancock in 2021.
Yeah. So I am a student at the University of Utah. I'm going to school for recreational therapy, which is an evidence-based practice for human health and wellness. We work with those who have physical illnesses or ailments, disabilities, mental illnesses, addiction. This can be such a spectrum of populations, teenagers, pediatrics, elderly, anything, any human with those things. We focus on 5 modalities. So we look at the physical body, the cognitive mind, your social aspects of life, your emotional aspects, and then also, why can't I think? Because I'm on the spot.
Well, there's if it's cognitive, what about
cognitive, emotional? So, and spiritual, and how those are connected and how those create quality of life. So, what's fascinating about this? Sometimes, depending on the illness, ailment, whatever, adaptive equipment is the solution. Sometimes a social interaction with someone heart to heart is the solution. Sometimes it's going and playing a recreational activity, hiking, biking, whatever. And sometimes, and I've learned this for myself, it's getting in contact with yourself, your spiritual self, feeding and nourishing from the soul. It's amazing to me. And like I said, it's an evidence-based practice. So clinical trials, looking at before and afters. When this person does this and this person does this, how does that add to the quality of life? How does that help with healing? How does that help with wellness and meaningfulness and purpose? And so for me, you know, those things are things I'm passionate about. They matter to me, and they create the quality of life. And I believe that a quality life is one worth living and being alive in. So I take that passion with me in the professional field and apply it in my personal life as well. And it's fascinating. I love it. I think we will see more of these things as we've seen yoga take off. We've seen breathing exercises, meditation. We're starting to understand or reconnect to the understanding of these ancient techniques and practices that have existed since life existed.
I love it. And for me, I just think, you know, one that Katy and I do is dance. That is a type of recreational therapy. We go there, we feel better when we leave.
Social.
Yeah.
Because I'm interacting with my fitness friends. Yes. Emotional, because I'm boosting my mood. Physical, I'm taking care of my body. I feel stronger and healthier. I would say spiritual and soulful, because it elevates me. I'm open. I'm also sitting in my authentic self, because dance for me, it's as good as sunshine and breathing and fresh air. Yeah.
And then connecting with our higher selves and the spiritual side. I actually close my eyes when I'm dancing. Yeah. And they say the greatest feeling you can have is when you're in like your it moment, or like this
the flow state.
Yeah, the super deep
where you
connection.
Forget all things that matter, because you're so immersed in the here and the now. You're in the moment. And then last, even with that, so all 5 modalities for recreational therapy is also the cognitive. I'm learning things. My mind is tuned in. I'm learning this coordination pattern, this technique, and my brain is cranked. So there's a excellent example. Yeah.
And that's what we do, and that's what Katy will be doing tonight here in St. George. If you're looking for a class and you're local, send me a DM and I'll message Katy. I will not be making it tonight, but she'll be there in naughty spirit. Night ahead of her.
Yes. Get playful, be silly, let divine feminine play.
Yes. And we love it. And we have so many friends who are on the same page, doing the same things. We know our instructors. We connect with these women. We love them. We love what they teach. And we want to support them. So if you're looking for a fun dance class down here in St. George, you want to get out and you want to practice some of these, I keep forgetting the name. Therapeutic recreation. Yes. Recreational therapy. Therapy. That just can't get in my mind. But recreational therapy is huge. St. George is an amazing place to experience recreational therapy. And Katy is also up in northern Utah. So if you guys are in the area, if you want to learn more and find out what she's going to be teaching next year, contact her, contact me, Katy Hancock. She will be tagged in this post, so you can get a hold of her directly. All right, well, happy Wednesday. You've made it halfway through the week. It's hump day. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. You have so much to celebrate, so much to be thankful for. Love yourself. We're out.
Many blessings.
Go bye.